Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and my 10-year-old is going to make me take him to McDonald's this morning because it is Friday. Want to do a refresh here and let you see what these are the digital assets that I have been buying are doing. Last 24 hours, best performers: Theta, CeeLo, VeChain, Ethereum, Algorand, IOTA. As usual, you'll see a XLM and XRP down here, and they just don't seem to be getting a lot of attention. But I believe one day that will change on a dime. Check this out. Central banks globally added 59 tons of gold to their reserves last month. Central banks around the world continue to stockpile. Okay, this does not get enough attention, folks. I went and I found this clip. This is a big time clip right here, and it's very important. Think about what I've been saying for the last few years. Bitcoin and proof of work Ethereum don't work. They're a distraction. There's not many people in crypto social media or any social media or media period that are telling you this. They're going with the same old narrative that CNBC runs every day: Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And the bottom line is I don't care what anybody says, that is a distraction. It's an intentional distraction. Look over here. When the real things that the new financial system is going to be built on, it's going to be a foundation of gold, and it's going to be digital assets starting with XRP. Period. What this is right here, this is a woman named Lynette Zhang, okay? And she's got this guy's name is Dr. Alma Truott. Now, he's a guy who, I think he worked for a major financial firm back in the day, back in the, I guess, 70s. For those that have studied history, Paul Volcker was the Federal Reserve Chairman back in the 70s and 80s, I think early 80s, when interest rates, he raised interest rates through the roof because they had a major inflation problem in the Jimmy Carter days, okay? Similar to what's going on now. What he's recounting in this conversation with Lynette Zhang is he is talking to her about when he was a young man, they went and they met with he and a bunch of other young up-and-coming financial people met with the Federal Reserve Chairman just to pick his brain and to get his thoughts on things. Listen to what he says. The first thing he says reminds me of what's been going on with Bitcoin. I've told you, Bitcoin was a ruse. It was created to send the hordes to send their money there. That's why they did the drop gold campaign. I'm telling you, I can feel it in my bones. To send the hordes that way, while these big guys are going to gold and they're going to the digital assets that are going to change the whole financial system, this Bretton Woods 2 or 3.0 or whatever you want to call it. It just makes sense. Now listen to what this, right out of the gate, he tells you they control the media and that they create these falsities. Now watch.
Right. The general public, keep them dumbed down, keep them hypnotized by
Bitcoin.
Media, and all's good in the world. That's why they control the media too. And this,
think about how much think about what CNBC does. All Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the things that don't work, and it's never made any sense. Think about the SEC case. They won't even speak of anything that Jay Clayton or Bill Hinman has done. They can't speak in truth about this stuff, which means they're wanting you to focus on the lie. And that's what this guy says right out of the gate. But then he talks about what Paul Volcker told them back then.
They want you to believe it's all some nonsensical conspiracy theory, but it isn't. It's just common sense when you just look at it. So Volcker finished up his little presentation and then just basically asked, was there any questions? Well, I kind of let go of my question, what is GOI.
Good thing.
Because, I mean, everybody else seemed to know what it was. I wasn't, okay, I didn't want to appear too ignorant, right? But the big question was clearly, and nobody seemed to want to ask the question. We spent 4 weeks of intense backroom trading, insider trading, to learn how to diversify portfolios, to manage risk, right? And one of the big key things is to spread the risk out. An actuarial table is all about a large pool, right, of potential risk. So I asked him, I said, I raised my hand, he looks at me, and I'll never forget him, he looked at me and says, "You're the Mormon boy from Utah." What?
Did you have it stamped on your forehead?
Maybe because I didn't have a yarmulke on, I don't know. But I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Your question." I said, "Chairman Volcker, with all due respect, we spent the last 4 weeks learning how to diversify risk. Why are you now telling us to put all of our eggs into one basket?" Yes. You know, he didn't even act like he heard my question. He acted like it was, he didn't laugh or he didn't smug. It wasn't smug, but you know how long how about 3 minutes is when you're in that type of, he just
yes,
let it
I
sit.
do. Actually,
he pumps away on his stogie, which is still going, and he does some pretty good smoke rings. He just pumps and blows some smoke rings out. It's like mesmerizing. Okay, but enough of that. It's now 3-4 minutes. Do I need to rephrase the question? And he just said, he says, this is how he answered. He reached back into his pocket, brought out his gold coins, blinked them again, click, 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 and said, "Until you have these, you have no eggs." I asked him, I says, "Isn't that like putting all eggs in one basket? Why should we put all of our eggs in one basket, sir? Till you have these, you have no eggs." Now,
so this is the chicken. This is what creates all of the eggs.
Yes, those are the eggs.
And who knows more about money than central banks? And he knew that we had just gone on to this debt stand.
Folks, the reason this is so important is that gold's the anchor. Gold is what they base these systems on. It is what they'll base the next one on. And this all ties into everything we've been talking about. And do not ever let these people convince you that God's money's going anywhere and that you're going to somehow replace it. That is a lie. And it's important that you understand that lie. I literally bought more gold today just from watching this video. I did.
Controlled by his job, the central bank.
What that Federal Reserve chairman is telling these young students or young professionals, whatever they were, he's literally telling them that all of the other stuff is BS except for gold. Okay? Now, along come digital currencies, but we'll get to that in a second.
I was almost in shock. I was like, what? Okay, you came out here and burned a $100,000 bill.
Now, what he's talking about there is he said that Paul Volcker actually pulled out of his wallet, he had on his money clip a $100,000 bill that the Federal Reserve had apparently printed that he carried around with him. And he used that to illustrate to these young people how absurd this thing really is and why gold is the only real money. Okay?
And said, this is not for you. It's for the consumption of the goy.
Now, the goy, I don't know exactly what that means, but I think I read some comments and someone said it was Yiddish for non-Jewish people. I don't know. I have no idea what it means. But the Federal Reserve chairman was telling him, basically all this Federal Reserve notes and all this BS money that isn't worth anything, that's for the general population. but he's telling these young people, you get gold because you don't have any real eggs without gold.
Now you're saying that unless you have these gold coins, you have no eggs to be put into a basket? Yeah, I was, like I said, my gears were stripped.
My gears were stripped. Now, I had some people in there, because I put gold and XRP. Folks, we're rolling into this new system. Now, gold's going to be a big part of it, and I believe XRP is going to be a huge part of it, okay? Now, yes, he didn't mention digital assets in that clip, and he didn't mention XRP specifically. Now I want you to listen. This is when Jimmy Valley was on Linda P. Jones' show. Listen to what he says.
Of the lawsuit from the SEC, you would immediately see it at this $10 to $20 value. Just kind of normal starting use case type stuff. But we used, we were looking at the debt clock back then. We were doing some kind of, what if you reset the economy back to a gold standard type analysis? And the implied price of gold based on the debt at that time was it was about $35,000 an ounce. So it was this thought of you could see the G7 come together, right, and shake hands on a deal where their central banks will start trading gold again and supporting their own national currencies with on a gold standard, just like Russia's done, right? Mm-hmm. But that they wouldn't. It was too cumbersome in the world we live in today to be putting tons of gold on military aircraft and shipping them back and forth between countries to settle up transactions at the central bank level. So why not price a digital asset? Why not use the best one, the most useful, and basically just tie that 1-to-1 to an ounce of gold? And that's where we kind of came up with this, concept that you could see some people sitting around the table going, we're going to go back to a gold standard. We're going to write up these assets. We're going to write up gold into what the implied price already was. And then using XRP to communicate that value digitally instead of having to actually do it physically.
There was a Bloomberg video, and I'll find it. There was a Bloomberg video that went around a while back, and it said that blockchain could solve the transportability problem of gold. That's when this really clicked with me. Okay, now this is part of the reason I keep talking about my sponsor, Glint. Glint, this week I bought gold in Glint. I also buy physical gold too. Okay, I'll put but Glint solves a special problem because I have my Glint debit MasterCard where I can literally spend the gold in my Glint account. So if I need that purchasing power in a scenario where the US dollar loses its value dramatically or we have hyperinflation, this is one of my fail safes. Okay, now let's go to BlackRock.
Got some news this morning. BlackRock has now officially partnered with Coinbase to make crypto directly available to institutional investors. Customers of Coinbase and BlackRock's investment management platform, Aladdin, will have access to crypto trading, custody, prime brokerage, and reporting capabilities. That integration coming 4 months after BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said the company would explore ways to offer digital assets to its clients.
Okay, so they've partnered with Coinbase for institutional investors. The second I saw this, what it reminded me of was PolySign. But you can't talk very loud about PolySign because it's the most secretive custody product in crypto. It was also started by David Schwartz and Arthur Brillo. Hold on 1 second. Somebody's trying to call me. Okay, so this is what it reminded me of. And then, so I wanted to take you back and show you a couple of things from the past here. Okay, this is the first one. I just typed in PolySign and digital asset investor because there's a few of you who have never seen this stuff. Okay, because right now you are seeing the institutions step up to the plate. You just saw the largest one. Okay, now this is one of the videos that I had put out. Let me hit the old refresh button here and play this.
Couple more, if you don't mind. What's happening with PolySign?
You know, unfortunately, I'm not really. That's one of the things where I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. I'm super excited about what we're doing at PolySign. We're officially an institutional custody company, but we're trying to do some very, very interesting things that I have to stop. I can't wait until pay was until yesterday, and I was always annoyed when there was an answer I wanted to give about pay ID and I couldn't, and now I have to do the same thing with PolySign. It's like I want to tell you things I can't. I got to stop there. Sorry.
Okay. Then as we go down here, here's another clip. This is Jack McDonald, who's the CEO of PolySign.
I think what you're seeing certainly in the crypto markets is a lot of momentum and speculative investors who are getting flushed out here. We see from our business standard custody and trust a lot of interest coming from institutions. We just had a very large prospective investor come in today who feels like it's the bottom, and they're looking.
All right, so that's him. He kind of knew what was going on. Now look at this clip of him.
The other thing that makes us unique is we're the only custodian that has a blockchain at our core that was designed by Arthur Brito and David Schwartz, and that's certainly taken on meaning for the regulators. I think it was a lot of what gave New York regulators confidence in giving.
All right, so don't count these guys out. Now, just a reminder, link to, remember they tweeted this, and I'm going to put link to in the top of the description of this video too, because here's the deal. If you are a creditor, you think you might be, you can check with those guys, but if these guys right here are saying there might be something cooking, in other words, they might be listing PolySign on their platform for sale. If they do that, the digital asset investor will be investing in it. Now, if they do this, and if they're going to do it, it'll be too late if you try to go and sign up for an account. So if you haven't, I'll put the link. Make sure you go through my link. But if you haven't signed up for an account and you're going to want to grab some of that, you might want to go do it. Okay, moving along. This came out yesterday evening. Breaking: a staffer from U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis' office says every U.S. exchange and the largest crypto exchange in the world, Binance, are in various stages of being investigated by the SEC. Every exchange. And right here it says wildly circulating reports from that the SEC is investigating Coinbase. It says there are more than 40 U.S. cryptocurrency exchanges according to crypto data CoinGecko. The staffer says every U.S. crypto exchange is being investigated. So I went to CoinGecko, which they referenced there. Here's the exchanges. That would be Coinbase, Kraken, Binance US, FTX, Gemini, OKCoin, Bittrex, CoinList, CoinZoom, iBit, Bitfront, Beaxy, Qtrade, DYDX. Well, there's more actually. There's this thing goes on, but those are the top. Okay, those were it. All right. Well, those are the exchanges that are supposedly now. I think everybody should be reminded that John Deaton was warning about this. He was warning that this was an attack on the entire crypto industry for months, if not a year, over a year. And all of these people, we need to point it out, all these people who are supposedly covering crypto, the industry, and all of this, they have never, ever had John Deaton on. They've never, ever listened to what John Deaton had to say. They've never, ever, most of them have never even mentioned his name because they don't want you to hear the truth of what's going on and what's happening. Laura Shin ignored him. Anthony Pompliano ignored him. Blockchain Association ignored him. Kristen Smith, who runs the Blockchain Association, ignored him. The Digital Chamber of Commerce ignored him. Perry-Ann Boring, who runs the Digital Chamber of Commerce, ignored him. CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, CNBC, Squawk Box, CNN International, CNN Business, and Julia Chatterley. You all ignored him because you don't want to tell your audiences the truth of what's going on. You want to run the narrative that you're told to run, and you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And I am not going to sit here and watch it all unfold and watch you guys try to protect this stupid narrative that is not true half the time. And while the truth is being shouted from the rooftops over here in social media, we're going to keep shouting it because all of you people are a part of the problem. Now, I'm not saying that all of these people want to be a part of the problem. Many of them are just probably cowering in fear of their jobs. I think Julia Chatterley's probably one of those that's just afraid she'll be fired if she talks about something. Well, if that's where you want to be. Okay, I'm going to finish. Let me see what I had next because I got so much. Coinbase has received a class action lawsuit alleging crypto exchange made false claims regarding its business activities. There's going to be a flood of this kind of stuff in all this, folks. I mean, what Gary Gensler is doing, you talk about being ashamed of yourself. This guy it's almost, if I didn't know better, it's almost like this government that's in place right now is trying to do everything they can to destroy the United States financial system and any innovation in it before they get their behinds booted out of office. That's what it feels like. Because boy, will they get them booted out of office because these people are a freaking disaster. And also this, just in, Binance Card has added support for XRP. I'm going to finish with this. This was another Jimmy Valley, and you can look around you right now in this clip. You can really see how a lot of this kind of stuff seems to be really happening, or something like what he's talking about here.
Again, this is just an opinion of a sovereign individual, not a legal opinion. When do you think that that case will come to a close? Feel intuitively, and
so
maybe free on the open market again. Again, not a legal opinion.
There's two the summary judgment motions. This will be a case that's decided not by a jury, but it'll be decided by a judge. And so there will be summary judgment motions made by either side where, you know, the facts and the law will not be in dispute, and it'll be up to the judge to decide kind of how it's going to happen. That's all supposed to come together in November. I believe that we're going to have a market event. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that's going to be, but I believe they're going to have a market event within the next 4 weeks that is going to be so profound that they will have to come to the judge and beg for a resolution.
SEC?
Even the SEC, the federal government will basically have to get together and say, we've got to come together on this and get the clarity now, because this event will be so significant. You'll have to have the use of the.
You have to wonder, folks, if this is kind of correct, because you have to want, when Gary Gensler is going after all of the exchanges and the day before BlackRock's partnering with Coinbase, you have to wonder if they're trying to trigger Congress into hurrying up and getting off their butts and doing something. You have to wonder. Or the Treasury stepping in and declaring a national emergency and saying, screw you, SEC, we're declaring this. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Jimmy Valley is saying there's going to be a market event or a black swan